welcome. My name's Sandy Pentland. I'm on the board of Digital Transparency Lab here. I also live in the building, helped set it up back in the day. And so welcome to MIT, welcome to the Media Lab, welcome to the Data Transparency Lab. So the subject, as I'm sure you all know, otherwise you wouldn't be here, is what's happening to our data. Data is, of course, the thing that makes traffic run now. It makes the electric grid. It's the basis of personalized medicine. It's the basis of an enormous amount of commerce. But we don't really understand how this ecosystem has grown up. And increasingly, data and privacy and ownership are issues which are coming under a microscope and are the subject of real debate. So for instance, I was just in Europe last week talking about with the people who are actually in charge of formulating the final data protection bills for Europe, which they describe as a mess. I'll tell you more about that. It has to do with the decision process at the end. But one of the reasons that they may not be quite on the mark is that nobody actually knows what's happening to the data. It's this incredibly complicated, dynamic ecosystem, and God knows what happens. As somebody who's been on one of the advisory boards for Google and runs the data advisory board for one of the big telcos, I can tell you that the big guys sometimes have systematic problems, but they don't have a lot of cheating going on. On the other hand, when I load a game onto my cell phone, it's all bets off. I was just in China a week before last, and they were telling me that a recent survey of the App Store, the Apple App Store, found that 2/3 of the apps had wrappers that sent the data back to China. It was just like, oh my God, what's going on there? So here we are. We're going to try and find out a little bit so that we can put the data in charge of things that we want it to, so we can know where it's going. And to tell you about how that's going to happen, I'll introduce Pablo Rodríguez, who is the director and central figure in Data Transparency Lab, and he'll tell you what we're really up to. Pablo.
Thank you, Sandy. I don't know if we can project the slides. Thank you. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to Boston. And thank you, Sandy, for welcoming us, everybody here, and setting this up. And as Sandy was saying, you know, personal data is becoming paramount, especially in the new economy. It's something that we need to cherish, and we need to take care of it, understand, and it's going to probably fuel a lot of future opportunities that we're going to see in the internet in the upcoming years. I wanted to go over a bit of some numbers that we found out recently on the opportunity for personal data and how consumers are reacting to it. And these are some numbers that we pulled from some recent report from Boston Consulting that tells you the size of the economy around data. And you know, this about 350 billion in 2011 are expected to grow by almost $1 trillion by 2020. But the report says that about half of that trillion is at risk if the stakeholders fail to establish a trusted personal data ecosystem. So we are creating a great thing, the open internet, but I think it's a fragile ecosystem. It's something that if we don't take care of it, we may jeopardize it. And consumers used to not care, but this is a recent research we've done with about 4,000 people in Latin America and in Europe, in different countries, in Germany, in Spain, in the UK. And we're seeing a lot more segmentation of consumers. So it used to be that they either didn't know or didn't care, but now you see all sorts of ranges from I'm very concerned and I'm aware to I don't care and I'm unaware to anything in between. And obviously this depends on different countries and different ages, but certainly we are seeing a range of segmentation. And if you ask them what are their most important concerns, is what are the consequences of sharing my data, what happens to my data, who's tracking me, can I have control over it, where can I delete it, how can I get most value out of it? So they can take that data, they can share it with others, they can make shared decisions, they can learn more about themselves. And I think that's the reason why we set up the Data Transparency Lab with a number of companies that support the open web. We got together with MIT Media Lab, with the Open Data Institute, with Mozilla, and asked Telefónica to set up this open community, a distributed community that is trying to create a healthy ecosystem for personal data and to create more transparency. You know, at the end, transparency increases performance, and that's what that would be a great thing in DTL. So this is a timeline of what's been happening over the last year. We started in November 2014 with an event like this in Barcelona. It was very well attended. Probably, how many of you were in Barcelona in the event? Okay, about it. Okay. And then we started talking about it at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona last year, where a lot of the mobile technology apps and developers, they get together. We set up the first ground program around April, May timeframe, and we were surprised by the amount of proposals that we were getting. I think the committee was ready to handle 1/3 of the proposals that actually managed to come through, and I have to congratulate everybody that put a lot of effort for this to happen in a record time. We gave 6 grants to different universities, top scientists around the world that are trying to do more research in this space, and 15 poster grants, and those ones you will be able to see them during the event in these 2 days. We held the first meeting in London to make the decision of the proposal sometime in June, and then we started realizing that interesting tools started to come out, and we started creating a beta program to start developing more and more of these tools, to scale them out and to bring them into general use. Tools for identifying price discrimination, or tools like FlatWatch that is coming out of NYU to explain better why you're seeing certain ads, and or AirClock that is helping anonymize personal data so it can be more freely shared. And then more recently, with Sandy, we've been talking about this event and trying to create more community, both at Wired, MTech, and now this is the primary event. The protagonist is on you these 2 days to socialize and share some of the work that you're doing and the experience that you're having with personal data. So this was 2015, and these are the grantees. Committee chairs were Chris Nagumadi and Nikos Lautaris, that are both here and are going to talk about the process later on. And the awardees were CMU, Northeastern, University Carlos III, Princeton, and the Technical University of Denmark. And I'm not going to talk about the great work that they're going to do, because that's what they're going to have to talk about during their slot, and I look forward to that. And then these are the posters that we also granted, because we wanted to broaden the community and have more people participate and have them come and share their early stage work. So there will be also time in the program for you to interact with the poster grantees. They're going to have space in the posters. They're going to come and give an elevator pitch session. So good time to interact with them. And 2016, I think, the first year has been about funding scientists, and probably the next one is going to be about helping scale some of the tools. We're thinking about setting up a tool curation program where some of the tools are going to be beefed up and brought to a level that can be used at scale. This is what we call the Data Transparency Lab Hub, and I'll talk about it briefly next. And we also want to increase participation from policymakers, industry. So if you are interested in joining, please come and talk to us. We're going to be here these 2 days, and I think this is the time. And last but not least, we thought that out of the great work that everybody is doing, it would be, it seems that a community, an academic community is building this space around data transparency. So we are going through the process of setting up an ACM workshop that is going to be co-located with the Data Transparency Lab event next year, hopefully in New York. So it will happen like we're having this meeting today, and then we're going to have the academic event following that will be peer-reviewed, and Nikos will talk more about it later since he's been handling that. And, you know, this is about getting more scientists use more data to validate hypotheses that then get created through developers into tools that users consume, that policymakers are able to understand, make sense, and generate more data that again fuels this ecosystem. And you can see we're already interacting with some of these players like AirClock that provides factual anonymity in some of the data to be able to share it widely. We're thinking of setting up a GitHub repository where we build a community of developers and see how through the community that Mozilla has, we can empower some of these tools and then create those tools that more consumers are going to be able to use and hopefully get more data in the public space that is going to be able to be used by more and more scientists and keep increasing this ecosystem. And last but not least, I wanted to make a recognition to the Data Transparency Lab team. I think it's been a lot of work for the last year and a half, a lot of people to set this up. So if you are here, I don't know if you can stand up so people see you. Please. Yes, don't be shy. Yes. Okay. And that's all from my side. You know, these are the links to the webpage. We're going to be posting some pictures, and feel free to go in Twitter and make your comments and enjoy the event. This is your event. It's for you to create the community, to share, and welcome to Cambridge and welcome to the Data Transparency Lab conference. Thank you.